And here we go. Hello, and welcome to James Lott Jr. is the DJ. No, that's not it. James Lott Jr. is the farmer, and Jack Farmer's the DJ. That's what it is, kids.
Yeah, I'm the DJ here. That's the only thing I provide in this conversation. If you take that from me, I have nothing, James.
I didn't mean to do that. I swear I didn't mean to do that. And I'm the farmer. I'm truly the farmer of the two of us. I keep plants alive.
Yes. I do not. I am a terrible farmer. I do not have a green thumb. The only thing I can grow is like weeds and things like that you try to get rid of. I'm really good at that. But other than that, it's funny. In my front, I have a patio, and like where there's supposed to be plants, it's dirt. But then like in between the concrete slabs is where all the stuff is growing. I don't get it. I don't know. That's just how it is.
Hello, Kirsten. It's very strange where stuff will grow. It's also very strange out in the concrete jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting where things grow. I'm like, why do I have a palm coming out of the wall? I can't get, and the palm in my yard is dying.
There is totally off track, but there's a show that was on a few years back called Life After Man or something like that. And it would take different cities and sort of project what that city would look like if mankind disappeared.
Oh, really?
And it would say like it'd break it up like after a year, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years. And one thing that always rang true is that Mother Nature will grow through whatever we put over the top of it. We think our concrete is so great and so strong. No, plant, just every one of them. Like, yeah, by the way, plants will overrun everything very quickly. And it's like kind of shockingly how fast they project things would happen. Like after 5 years, it would be like a jungle in LA. Well, not LA, but it'd be a desert in LA. It'd be a jungle everywhere else.
Really? Well, that's just interessante.
Yeah.
No, actually, that sounds familiar. The program sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, it's a few years old, but like it just takes different cities, like I said, and kind of says like this is what would happen to New York over the course of a few years after. I remember the one that stuck out to me is in LA. The predominant species would be elephants because the elephants at the LA Zoo would eventually leave, and the elephants technically have the strength to leave the zoo. They just stay because they get fed. But if there was no humans there feeding them, they would leave. And then there's no other predators that could kill an elephant here in Southern California. So they would become the kind of the alpha species.
That's actually very interesting. That's a whole other show, folks. That's very interesting. I never knew that.
I don't know if it's true. I just believe the show. So
see, you're doing fine till you say that, Jack Farmer. Flobito says great sweater, of course.
Yeah. It's, you know what, you can get this at flobito.threadless.com today. Use promo code Jack Farmer and maybe he'll hook me up with something later. I don't know, you'll get nothing for it, but maybe I'll get $1.
And I'm not throwing a lower third or whatever up there either. Sorry, they go watch your show to do that. Okay, so our show today is country pop or country rock, whatever. So I always do definition from our favorite place, Merriam-Webster. I try different dictionaries. I'm trying this one this time. And the actual definition is a fusion genre of country music and pop music, really. That was developed by members of the country genre out of a desire to reach a larger mainstream audience. Country pop music blend genres like rock, pop, and country, continuing similar efforts that began in the late 50s, known as the Nashville sound, later known as countrypolitan. Never heard the word in my entire life.
Countrypolitan. Okay.
By the mid-70s, many country artists were transitioning to pop country route, which led to records charting high on the mainstream top 40. So yes, it's mainly like crossover. They always say it for any kind of genre. It's not top 40 or top 100. It's a crossover thing. And we decided to talk about country pop because I like country pop. I like country, I like pop, I like country pop. There's some controversy over it sometimes with certain genres. And I always laugh because a lot of the guys in country today, I don't know if you've seen them, Jack.
Yeah.
They're dressed like regular pop guys. Even though they're doing country music, they're dressed, the 10-gallon hats are gone. They got goatees and all kinds of bracelets and shit. So so I'm seeing a difference in just the look these days. Am I right? I guess I'm right?
I want to see a comeback of the 10-gallon hat. I think that would be great. Just a big old cowboy hat. Though that'd be great. I think those should come back. But I do agree. It seems like more and more country artists are starting to break away from the mold of what country's supposed to look and sound like. And maybe just so they can be more accessible to more people around the world than the typical country fan. Because country is one of those genres where a lot of people are very much love it or hate it. There's not a lot of people who are kind of into it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of that. But also I think as generations grow up, they're starting to say, we don't need to do things just because our parents did them a certain way. And I think that's happening with country music, where the younger artists are like, look, just because my dad wore a big 10-gallon hat doesn't mean that I have to wear a 10-gallon hat. I'm a normal person every day. I still dress normally. I don't actually go ride horses and buck broncos and do all this other stuff. I'm a normal person. I just sing country music. And so I think that's what we're starting to see.
I actually ride horses, so.
Of course you do. Of course you do everything, James. I think like
I love horseback riding. I like horses. I do, yes, horses. If I could own a farm, I would. We already told the story. I just talked before another show. If I could own a farm in LA, I know there's urban farming, that's the same thing. If I could own an actual farm with a vineyard over here and vegetables over there and horses and pigs, I would do it.
Horses, if you ever get the chance to ride a horse, you definitely should, to anyone listening or watching, because you get an immediate appreciation for just how powerful those creatures are. And you realize very quickly, the only reason that people are able to ride horses is because the horses let them. It has nothing to do with anything else other than the horse goes, okay, I'll let you on. But if the horse wants you off, you're leaving the horse.
You're going off, yeah. I know, I do. I love me a good horse. All right, so I was looking over time. So first I decided not to look up. I was like, in my own brain, I was thinking of all these country pop, country rock artists I can remember myself. There's so many. I mean, there's so many. And luckily I grew up in a household. I mean, what about you yourself? I grew up in a household where we just saw all kinds of music. So there was, I mean, not just mainstream. We listened to country, we listened to pop rock, we listened to rock, we listened to disco. Was your house the same way?
A little bit, but not so much country music. We weren't really a huge country household growing up. That was something I kind of more listened to as I got older, but a little bit, but not most of it. Most of the stuff that I listened to that we'd call country was kind of the stuff like it'd be like Alabama, I guess, if that makes sense, where it wasn't quite the mama don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys country.
I love that song.
But it was, the stuff that's closer to what I always call it like American rock, even though I guess it'd be more a form of country than anything else. But you know what I mean? Like the Lynyrd Skynyrd kind of stuff that sort of had that twang to it a bit, but was still, I think, probably played more on rock stations.
It's funny because country is such an interesting thing, and country and pop are just like right next door to each other, but they feel like there's this big wall. But many times there isn't. We talked about this on another show briefly, where Darius Rucker was in Hootie and the Blowfish, this huge pop rock band, same voice.
Yeah.
Now he's a country star solo. So it's not it's not that much of a stretch. Like the wall isn't really there. I mean, it's there, but it's not really there. I mean, like he literally just went solo and calls it country.
Yeah.
Like it's.
If
you go to the concert, right?
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna say, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you put Wagon Wheel on a Hootie and the Blowfish album, you wouldn't call it country. You would just say it's a Hootie and the Blowfish covering Old Crow Medicine Show. That's. Right. But you wouldn't be like, oh, he's the top country guy. But him basically just declaring himself a country artist, he suddenly wins Best New Country Artist of the Year, all this other stuff. But I think he's great, by the way. But it is funny. It's like, yeah, it's still the same sound. It's, again, country's one of those things where for some reason it's very divisive. It's very like you have to like almost declare that you are or are not country. You could almost even see it with like Taylor Swift. It's almost like a sports team where she was on team country and then eventually like signed with team pop and moved over.
Oh, well.
And not that she, I don't think she like tried to, I don't think she hates country or anything anymore, but I think it was just one of those like, yeah, you know what I mean? It felt like a thing. She left one and became the
No,
other.
she did. I mean, no, a flow was that was Southern rock you're talking about, yes, which is kind of country stuff. No, here's what I feel like. And I like Taylor Swift. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I like her. I have all her albums, blah blah. But I felt she was trying. She wanted to go big. She wanted to be, even though she was huge in country. For some reason, people still think that's not big enough. She wants to be huge in pop. And when I heard that, you're never, ever, 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 ever gonna be together. I like that's a pop song. I like that is straight up pop song on a country album. Like this chick went pop. And that's my first inkling going, ooh, because her other songs up to that point, like Love Story and all those songs, they were still country, but they're relatable. So pop played them. But when she did that, I've never ever, 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 that one, I love the song, of course. But that one was like that. She's making a declaration. You said she's making a declaration. Bye, country bitches. I'm going this way. I'm going to go pop next time. And she literally did.
Right. She moseyed on down the road to the next genre. And she became a pop star. But it's smart. I mean, to be fair, it was smart. I think she is bigger than she would have been if she stayed in country. And that's no shot against country. It's just the thing about pop is it encompasses everything. So it's no matter what genre you're in, if you go pop, you're going to be bigger than what you were in. And what's funny is it's almost just like if you just add a little bit of guitar to any of her songs to this day, they sound country. Like if you put like an acoustic guitar filter over any of her songs, suddenly they're country songs again. That's really the only difference for a lot of them. But she's I don't want to say sneakily, but she's become probably one of the biggest artists of the past 10 years. Easy.
So easily. I mean, she has. I mean, just it has. And it was just folklore and all these. She put 2 albums this last year. I mean, like she's a star. I mean, she's like Beyonce. They literally transcend, I think at this point, the genres. I mean, they kind of, people still talk about it, but they're A-list artists at this point. And they are popular. I mean,
yeah, I think Taylor Swift is the only different, like one of the big differences between her and Beyonce is Taylor Swift feels like she's having to work harder to shed the child star thing because she started so young, and Beyonce did as well. But Beyonce, for some reason, was able to sort of just say, "Oh no, I'm just a superstar." Where Taylor Swift, not as bad as Justin Bieber, but has that like, "Oh, but you're the kid star growing up." Well, if that makes sense.
I think it does, but I think that's a country thing behind it because Beyonce was in a group, so you can almost say, well, she was a kid and she was in a group. Now she's so big girl solo, where like LeeAnn Rimes, her predecessor, she started out that song Blue, she was 13, 14 years old. Huge country. Then she went pop with Can't Fight the Moonlight and all those songs. And she had a hard time. Remember that song Can't Fight the Moonlight?
Yeah.
She went pop, so to speak, and became bigger. But then she kind of dropped because she had some issues, whatever. But to me, she's Taylor Swift's predecessor because she was like the one before, like the generation before that she was trying to get through the same thing. I think she could overcome the kid thing. I think she had bad press and stuff later too, but I don't think she could overcome that kid thing.
Yeah, she was a big star. She had How Do I Live was her big.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
How do I live
without
you? And then like a thief in the dark. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yes. She was huge. She was huge.
Yeah, what a fun. What I like about our shows is I always go through memory lane with some of these songs that come up again, and it's like, oh yeah, LeeAnn RImes.
I mean, but she was big, but she was a child star that got bigger. She got older, but there's like I guess she couldn't keep it going, I guess, or something. I don't know. But Taylor's keeping it going though, where LeeAnn couldn't. I don't know why.
Yeah, LeeAnn had a year. I think she was like for a year she was big, and then you're right, she just sort of fell off. And
another group, I don't even know same time, but I don't even know what to call them now because I guess they're just Lady A. They were Antebellum, but they dropped it or whatever. they got huge too in the pop world.
Yeah.
That's that one song. Oh my God, what was that one song?
Need You Now.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was big. That was big. As a DJ, I played.
I liked it.
Yeah, that was a big wedding song. It got played a lot. Even for people who would say they don't like country, they do the I don't like country, but can you play this? You know, and so that definitely got a lot of play. But yeah, I'm always weirded out when people change their names. I always think you were on a roll. Everyone knew you as Lady Antebellum. Why are you changing your name? Like, well, it's too late.
The Dixie Chicks are the Chicks now. They dropped Dixie.
Which I also think, I mean, I get the reason because they talk about it, but I'm like, I know. Like you've been around for 20 some years. Now you're changing your name. Like,
it's kind of weird. I agree with you.
Just roll with it at this point. Like,
I get it, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, and speaking of folks who also did, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift and these folks. We can't even not do this by talking about Shania Twain and Garth Brooks. I mean, like the 90s, they were the two biggest selling artists, period. Mm-hmm. I think Celine Dion was third or whatever. I looked it up. They were the two biggest, and they were country, yet they cry. I mean, and Shania for sure. I mean, so folks at home, if you don't know this, her husband at the time was Robert Mutt Lange. What was his claim to fame? Def Leppard. So he wrote songs for Def Leppard and wrote songs for Shania Twain. And I'm a huge Def Leppard fan. So I was trying to figure out similarities, and there is some similarities in there. I mean, the big power chords, she was very poppy, but also she was country too.
Well, that's what's kind of cool hearing about stuff like that is sometimes we get so into our favorite music artists and what they are that we think that that's all they care about. But the more you hear about a lot of different musicians, you realize that they just love music. And that's why they can make a song for Def Leppard and for Shania Twain. That's why they can do these things, because they just like the music side of it. And so I think that's why they're able to do those things. But yeah, it's also fun to see those little similarities between them. Yeah. Garth Brooks took the world by storm when he came out, though, man. He came in hard. He was like, I think for me, the first country artist that was like, hey, even if you don't like country, you're gonna know who I am. And to this day, I tell you, in front of the right group, I got friends in low places will tear the house down and get people singing along. It's such that's such a good karaoke song. And
Thunder Rolls is my song. He has
Thunder Rolls.
30 seconds. We don't get in trouble.
Yeah. No, he's bad. He's serious about it. In fact, man, I'm going to gripe about Garth Brooks for a second as a DJ. I had whenever someone requests a song from Garth Brooks, and if I don't have it, it's so frustrating because the only way you can get a digital copy of Garth Brooks songs is if you go to his website and download the entire album. Because he doesn't put them up on Spotify. He doesn't put them up on iTunes.
That's so crazy.
He takes them off of, like, you can't even burn it off of like a YouTube link because he's like on top of YouTube. Like, the only way to get it. So someone requests a song. I was like, man, I got to buy this entire album from Garth Brooks for this song that I'm going to play once. Cause it was like a B-side, but it was special to them. Like, I'm going to play the song once. I got to spend $25 to get this album.
Well, my Garth Brooks story is a little nicer. I was invited by, I was a Diamond Meeting member in Vegas for the Caesar properties. For the Harris properties, and that's Caesars, Rio, Bally's, Paris. And so they invited some of us, the clients, to a private concert at the Coliseum at Caesars with Trisha Yearwood and Garth Brooks. And there was no band. It was just them two, him and a guitar. And he told us stories. And I was such a huge Garth Brooks. Like I was probably one of the few black folks like Garth Brooks. And I was totally huge into Garth Brooks. And I was like, I sat like I'm talking to you. He was like right there. We were right there. So it was like maybe 100 of us.
Oh, that's cool.
They hired them to play for us all his hits, which he has so many. Hi, Haywood. It was amazing. So I will never forget that. I didn't get a chance to meet him though, but I got a chance to be there as he just like told us the stories of the songs. But he was every album he put out was number one. Every album was super huge. Shania Twain, she has 3 of the biggest selling albums of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Her albums would go diamond, they call it, where it's 10 million or more. She has several of those, not just one. And a fact about Shania Twain, being a pop, for her, I think it was her Up album. I think it's Up. She released 3 versions.
Mm-hmm.
And back then it was CDs. So it was 3 different color CDs. There was a green one, a red one, and there was a country version, a pop version, and a dance version. All the same songs.
So smart.
Just all, and it sold like gangbusters. It just sold like gangbusters.
I'm actually surprised more people didn't take that formula of that idea, because you could probably do those 3 different versions pretty quickly if you're doing them all back to back. You know, like, okay, we finished I Feel Like a Woman country. Let's do I Feel Like a Woman pop. Let's do I Feel Like a Woman dance. Next song, you know.
Well, see, I think, Jack, what you said earlier is what it is. Take out the guitar, take out that Twain guitar, and suddenly it's pop. Take out this, and suddenly it's dance, or add this, and suddenly it's dance. Like, I have a feeling it's simpler than that.
I think
I wasn't there. But I'm assuming. I'm not saying it's not simple. I mean, folks, I make albums. It's not easy. But I'm just saying, it's simpler like that. Probably just a few things. I bought all of them, of course. I was a huge fan. I was a freak, so I bought them all. But I mean, so I was looking. I wanted to see each one and see if they did sound different. Like, well, they did sound different.
But I think it's just a is such a smart move. And yeah, she was huge. Man, I Feel Like a Woman's still a banger. That is a karaoke banger, by the way. When karaoke comes back, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. That song crushes. In fact, it's better if you're a fella singing it. I think people get it. It's just that song will kill at karaoke. Even if you're not a good singer, get up there. I feel like a woman. Yeah, it's
and the attraction. Good idea. I know so many straight guys who love that song, and when it comes to karaoke, they do sing it. They know all the words.
Yes,
so you're right. It's just, and that song was so huge. It was a commercial, I think, with it, and it was huge. It was huge.
It's so funny, songs like that too. Yeah, people will joke around like, "Oh yeah, I'm just singing it to be silly," and then they know every single line without without looking at the screen. You're like, just for fun, huh? You didn't, you know all the words, huh?
Exactly. So I want to mention, because I want to mention, because I was a big fan of theirs when they came out, because they were so different. Because they added elements of hip hop, which doesn't happen very often. Big and Rich.
I love Big and Rich.
Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I mean, hello, 8th of July. All those songs. I mean, I was a huge fan of theirs. They had Cowboy Troy. They called it Big Hop. And all that stuff and everything. I love Big and Rich because they were so inclusive. They were so about everybody. And the songs were country-esque, and they were rock-esque, and they were pop-esque, and I loved them. And I love what they were trying to do. They were big for a while, but I love what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I love Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. That's another banger. If I'm DJing an event that has country music, that song always goes off well. And it's one of those ones where when they hit that chorus, everyone sings along. And what I like about them is you mentioned that they go big. Like, their name sound is exactly what they are. They go big. They give you that kind of throwback to the big arena style show. Like, you can tell they're meant to be playing in front of thousands of people. And I like it. I love that sound that has that, like, yeah, we're going to be playing in front of thousands of people. It's supposed to be a massive, big thing. And I like that they bring that, because so much of country is the opposite of that. So much of country is a single guy with his acoustic guitar singing about a personal moment, which is great. But when Big and Rich come in and they're like talking about coming to your town and, you know, all this other stuff with that big bassy beat to it, to me, it just stood out. It's stood apart from everything else, and it was fun. And again, as a DJ, I love it because you can dance to it, you can have fun to it, you can play it with different things. And I think they are a credit to a lot of newer names that came out, like Luke Bryan and other people that have that kind of fun vibe to them in country.
Yeah, there's a lot of country that is country, but they borrow from the rock stars. Big arenas, big shows. Toby Keith's one of those who's I've seen in concert, very big show. Compared to the ones who a little more low key, it's about the hits. It's about, like a George Strait or a Kenny Chesney or them. They're out there saying, Tim McGraw is one. I mean, him and his wife both, Faith Hill, both crossed over. I mean, Faith Hill was huge for a while. Breathe and all that was huge and went pop. But Tim McGraw did a song with Nelly, folks. It was a top 10 hits. He did a song with Nelly, and Nelly even had a song called Country Grammar. I mean, so it was one of those things where there's always this fringe of country and hip hop are way this way, but there's a couple of times it does kind of, Lil Nas X, obviously, and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's another one, Old Town Road. I mean, every once in a while it comes together and it does work.
Yeah, Nelly does it a bit because he also did it with Florida Georgia Line as well with Cruz. Yes. I think it works. Again, it's just because I think the thing that makes, and we talked about this a little bit before on a previous episode, where I think one of the things that makes country music harder to less accessible to a lot of people is they don't really bring the drums in as much because it is more about the strings. And I think what hip hop gives it is those drums and that beat that makes it, even if you don't know the words, even if you don't know what they're talking about, with a beat, with the drums, you can still bob your head to it. You can still get into it and feel it. And I think that is something that is so valuable for country music to be able to borrow from hip hop, is those beats and that drum.
Yeah, I agree. And people in the chat room, if you have some favorite country pop rock songs or groups or artists, please tell me in there. Nellyville, that's what Flo says. The album's called Nellyville. Yeah, so but if you have any people you like, write me in the chat, let me know. I'll read them out loud. Let me know what's going on. Now we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to go back and forth and around, but I want to go back a little bit to some of my favorites. And if you guys didn't know this, here's two little pieces of trivia you may not have known. Prince's Purple Rain was written as a country song.
Really? I did not know that.
So you listen to it, take a listen to it, that's how you hear it. There's a little bit of something in there. I can see it's a country song, definitely.
Yeah.
And Donna Summer, she announced this on one of her shows before she died. Her big disco hit, Dim All the Lights, back in the 70s, was actually for Rod Stewart. She wrote it for Rod Stewart and wanted Rod Stewart to do a country rock version of it. And she sang at a concert once that version. And you're like, what? Like, oh my God, that sounds totally country.
Yeah.
So just two little pieces of trivia that people don't know about of that.
Rod Stewart, my mom's favorite artist of all time. Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's Rod Stewart's her guy.
You want my body
and you think I'm
I remember that skating to it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's more of a Maggie May person, but I know I have a deep knowledge of Rod Stewart music because of my mom.
So we gotta do a Rod Stewart show just for your mom.
Just for my mom, she'd love it. I've lost track of where we are now.
That was a little trivia.
It's one of the things. I mean, I could see Purple Rain actually being a country song, because something about country music is it is a lot of those personal kind of songs, and there's a lot of that personalness to Purple Rain. I think one of the things that makes country stand out amongst all the other genres, and really, I think its calling card is country music. At the end of the day, is always about personal stuff for the most part. It's always about individual, relatable things. And while things like hip hop will still be about an individual, a lot of times they become about issues that are so unaccessible to us. Like, I don't understand what 50 Cent is singing about when he's talking about popping bottles at the club and all this other stuff, where I think with country, it's like, yeah, my car won't start. You're like, yeah, I get that. That sucks.
The relatability, yes. In country, yes. You're right. Because rock and all those things, they're all about the excess, right? Country's down home.
Right.
Right that.
But I mean, because even the biggest stars will still sing about having a barbecue stand on their T-shirt or whatever, which is a real song. But it's but those are the things. For better or worse, that's one of the things that I think country is very good about, is that it's all stuff that, like, oh yeah, this is a normal thing that we all kind of live through.
So it was like, get to the line dances. I can't line dance. I can do the hustle. I can do electric slide, but I can't do a line.
You can't line dance. It's just to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. To the right, to the right.
I'm coordinated. I can dance. I'm coordinated. For some reason, I've never picked up on it. For some reason, I've never. And I can do the hustle, electric slide, do all those, which are much more complicated, I'm sure. But I can't do a line dance, saved my life. I'm gonna try. Well, one day we get back to that again. I'm gonna try. I really want to try to get it.
Well, we can do the achy breaky heart. I mean, come on,
There
that's
you
what we're talking
go.
about, right? Don't tell
That's what
my
we're talking
heart,
about.
my achy breaky heart. I just don't.
I hated that song so much. I hated that song so
That
much.
song was huge. That's all Billy Ray Cyrus.
It's huge.
Billy Ray Cyrus is, we still talk about him as this country artist. That was his song. That was it. That was what he contributed to pop culture before Miley. And, but hey, he's living in a mansion somewhere because of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, then Lil Nas X brought him on. He became big again. So, I mean, like, he's laughing with the bank. He's laughing.
He has a good chunk. Like his part in Lil Nas X's song is actually really good.
It's good. Too. I love it.
Yeah. I was like, this might be his best work. But he, it's fun. Like, what I like about songs like that, though, for people who can do the dances, is it's one of those things where as long as you figure out the steps, anyone can dance. And a lot of people, I think so many people are scared of dancing, not because they're scared of dancing, but because they just don't know what to do. And when you say, look, just do this, then they're like, hey, I can do that. And I can feel like I know how to dance. Even though I think once you've danced, you know that most of us don't know what we're doing when we're dancing. We're kind of making it up as we go. But sometimes people get nervous. Like, what do I do with my hands? What do I, how do I do this part? I think that's what's great about line dances is it takes all that away and says, come on out. This is what you do. Yes. And it works. And so I think there's actually something beautiful about a line dance, as corny and weird as that is.
Oh, no, I mean, I like them. I just can't do it. But you tell me to do the hustle, I can do the hustle in a second. I was just disco baby. I can't help it.
Do the hustle.
I can do that. And going backwards, another polarizing person who became beloved, Olivia Newton-John. Early in her career, she was very country pop. And actually, here's a piece of trivia for you also. Because of her coming from Australia, folks, she's Australian. Coming from Australia doing country music, the American Country Music Association hated that. And actually caused a fraction when she got nominated for Country Music Awards in America. And to this day, there are two separate Country Music Awards. You see those award shows, it's the CMAs and the AM or whatever, ACAs or whatever. It's two separate because of her, because she caused a fraction.
Interesting.
Because of her. Have you never been mellow? Have you never tried? You like that stuff, all those songs. Yeah. They were country songs, but she's from Australia. They didn't like that.
Well, because I think for a lot of people, there is an implied the country of America, the country of the US of A, that is placed onto that. So even though certain things may sound like it, there is a little bit like, whoa, this is America's music. This is American.
But like Keith Urban, who's from Australia too, 40 years later, he's accepted.
Right. Well, I mean, because how are you going to say no to Keith Urban?
Like, you could. No, Keith Urban. Go back to Australia.
No.
But it's just funny how like that span of time, she became beloved, obviously. But for pop music, because she went pop, did Grease and all that, I mean, then she became this icon. But Keith Urban came out 30 years later, and he came out country, and it's just accepted. And now he's popular because he's on TV too. So I mean, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, Keith Urban. I mean, I think again, as the world shrinks, we become a little bit more accepting of things like that. But people from other countries doing good things, especially Australia, where I think everyone is on a scale of 1 to 10 at minimum an 8.5. So we welcome him over.
Okay, I'm a 10. You talking Jack Farmer.
Right. Well, I didn't say you weren't. I'm just saying the people of Australia seem to have a very high average. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of Australians. There's a lot of Australians in LA, especially. There's a lot of them here.
Yeah.
They're all over. Everywhere.
Yeah. But you got your Hugh Jackman and your Thors and your everyone else. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that there's that. Is country big in other countries? I wonder.
Well, funny, Kylie Minogue, who is a dance artist normally, her album before this one, Golden, had country elements in it. She's from Australia too originally.
Right.
So they say that Australia is like the countryside of America. That's what they're saying.
Right.
That attitude, terrain, that's similar in many ways. I've never been to Australia, so I don't know personally myself. But it seems like a lot of country people, they're from Australia. They like our country music. I don't know if England or anything does, but I know that Australia does. I don't know.
Yeah, someone said I heard someone say Australia was England's Texas.
Yes, well, that's where all the felonies went. Remember, they were all the people went to jail went down to send them down to Australia.
Right. So, but yeah, does is there anyone in England that plays country music? And if it was do they have country music that's different because it's their country? I don't know.
Okay, I haven't either. I can't. And all the artists I've written down, I can't even think of any. None of those. I can't think of any, except for again, Culture Club, unknown fact. Karma Chameleon is country-esque. And the band didn't want it because it sounded too country. Because of the harmonica in the song, there's a little twang in the song, the way he's singing it. It's actually it's a huge hit, of course, for them. But they didn't want it in the band. They kept saying no. And George said, this is a hit. He goes, I knew it was a hit when I wrote it.
I'm trying to imagine like Hank Williams Jr. singing it and seeing what kind of response that would have gotten if yeah. It
may wait. That's the funny thing. We talked about this on the other episode about Johnny Cash singing a Nine Inch Nails song. It really depends on how they cover it.
That's true.
Seriously, I think it depends on the music, how much of the original do you keep in the remake. That's the thing, isn't it?
As long as there is the keyboard, that's all that matters to me. I don't know.
I'm just saying, Jack. I don't know. I mean,
I totally just was thinking about when I said keyboard, I was thinking of Flock of Seagulls, so I messed that up.
And I ran so far away. I said that'd be funny. No, I mean Hank Williams doing Hank was Julian at this point, doing that would be hilarious, I think. But it might be really good. It might be something. I mean, depends on how they would maybe slows it down, maybe makes it faster. I mean, it would depend on the way it's remade. I'm telling you that Johnny Cash's "Hurt" song is again one of my favorite songs of all time. It's his song. You don't think Nine Inch Nails at all. Even Brenda said it's his song now.
Yeah,
but he did a whole different version of that.
Right.
So it's there. But anyway, George talked about that on a special recently. He was like, yeah, the band didn't want it because it sounded too country, and we're a pop band. And he said it's a hit, so screw you. And he got it in the band. It went number one, of course. It's huge hit.
Right.
I mean, everybody knows that song.
Now everyone pretends like they weren't against it.
Oh, we loved it the whole time when we first heard it. We loved it.
We loved it. It was great.
So there's folks that walk that line a lot over time, and there's some folks I forgot about, and I don't know if you know. I'm gonna name some names, and I'm just wondering. I don't even know if you know anything about them or not. The Mandrel Sisters. I used to watch their show in the '80s. Barbara Mandrel, Louise Mandrel. They were pop rock, pop country. They had a TV. They did a variety show that was a huge hit in the '80s. I used to watch it with my family all the time.
I don't know that one. No.
Juice Newton. Hey, because Juice Newton of hearts. And then I'm really smart. Yeah, that's no. I remember her.
Juice Newton's a great name, by the way.
I know. She had to be a star. She had to be a star.
Yeah. It's a risky name. Like if you're naming someone, naming them Juice Newton's a risky name, but it pays off. You know what I mean? Like
it's Juice Newton. I know.
Like, because if they didn't become a star, like that'd be a weird. Like, hi, I'm Juice, your accountant.
He's so weird. That would be weird. I knew that before Jeff Roberts just now. That'd be really weird. Yeah. We also have. She is the sister to Loretta Lynn, Crystal Gale. I forgot about her. Don't Make Your Brown Eyes Blue.
Yes.
All that. Somebody who actually, here's a piece of trivia for you. She has done Spanish music, country music, R&B music, rock music, and had hits in every genre. Sheena Easton.
I thought you were going to say Shakira.
Like that. No, Sheena Easton. She's actually had country hits. She's had a song called Telepathy written by Prince. Written by Joey Coco. You understand? Prince wrote the song under Joey Coco called Telepathy, which was a hit for her. It was Spanish. She had a couple of country hits.
Prince, I think not only could Prince do anything, he did it intentionally just to flex on everybody.
Oh, yeah, why not? Play 10 instruments, 30 instruments, whatever. Exactly.
Yeah.
But about her, And of course, somebody that I loved growing up, because my parents played him all the time, was Glenn Campbell.
Oh yeah, like a rhinestone cowboy.
And he was huge. He
Yeah.
was huge. Side note, his documentary about him getting Alzheimer's is very sad, heartwarming, everything. It was very interesting. But he had a television show. He became a huge crossover star.
Yeah.
And that was something that was in the late 60s, early 70s was very rare for that, because it was right before Linda Ronstadt became big, or Kenny Rogers. They were in their first group still. They weren't like really big yet. He became the link between before and after.
Yeah.
And he was really big. But here's somebody I forgot about.
Yeah, Glenn. Yeah, like that's not.
and in the 70s, Chris Christopherson.
Chris
Walked that
Christopherson.
line several times. Did A Star Is Born with Barbra Streisand. So he was, my mother always say he's so big and hairy. She used to love how hairy he was. It was the 70s.
Yeah.
Which led to Kenny Rogers. So I remember Chris Christopherson and Kenny Rogers were considered the hottest guys. I mean, the 70s was all about long hair, bushy hair, hairy chest. That was very big in the 70s. The 80s changed all that. Everything got hairless. But in the 70s, it was all about hair. Burt Reynolds, all that stuff. It was all about the hair. More hair, the better. And Chris Christopherson had this huge mane of just like flowing locks. And, it was just amazing. And Kenny Rogers had the beard, which was, and, think about it. In popular kind of culture, beards aren't that, especially they are not that popular.
Not historically, yeah.
No, isn't that crazy?
They go through like phases. There'll be like a short phase where beards are cool and then they go away, but they're not like long term, or certain people will be okay. Like Jason Momoa is okay to have a beard forever, but most guys can't pull off the beard for long, or like it's not like the world of all the guys have beards like it was for a while. But Kenny Rogers, the gambler, know when to hold them.
Know when to fold them, Jack.
Know when to fold them.
Here's mine, Jack. Here we go. You're gonna get ready. Written by Lionel Richie, who did country stuff. Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you. Exactly. That's how my mother said. She would just fall apart when that song came on. Nice to meet you, Lucille. All these. He had a million songs. He had a million songs that it was all about that beard, that deeper voice. He was a heartthrob. He really was a heartthrob that crossed all genres. I just remember how big he was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's that's the weird thing. That's the interesting thing about country music, because it doesn't evolve very quickly. That like older stuff ages very well, and newer stuff can sound like it's been around for a long time. And I think one of the beauties of country is new songs still have an instant familiarity to them, because they it doesn't necessarily evolve that quickly. That's why, as we talk about these different things, like Garth Brooks, going back to I Got Friends in Low Places, that song came out in 1990. That song is 30 years old.
I was 21.
But it still sounds right at home on country radio. It doesn't sound like it quite as dated as a 1990 pop song would.
That's true.
But I guess that's the point of pop, is that it's supposed to be disposable. You're supposed to like it for a little bit and throw it away. Where I think that's also kind of the appeal of a country song, though, is that it can last forever. It can be around forever. I mean, you look at some of these songs, as I look through some of my notes and some of my songs, like George Strait has a lot of, like, All My Exes Live in Texas is still
Texas.
Fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that one does sound a little bit older though.
I love that song though.
Yeah.
I love this song.
All my exes live in Texas. There was a minute where a lot of like R&B was stealing country songs. Like I Swear by John Michael Montgomery. And there's another big one that got that around that time that was borrowed as well.
It was I Swear, and you're right. There's another one. I can't remember what it is right now. I Can Love You Like That.
That's yeah. I Can Love You Like That. Yeah.
All for One did those. Yes.
Yeah.
They did that. I know some of the guys from All for One, actually, personally.
They are the cause of many a slow dance growing up. Let me tell you, for old Jack Farmer.
You know, I swear, especially that song was huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huge. When I get to meet the members of them, I thought this was so hilarious because I know that song, and now like I know Delius Kennedy, I know Tommy, I know that's some of the guys in the band. And I was like, that's just so weird. Like I know you guys now, but I remember that song was huge. It was huge. It was played everywhere. Played everywhere. And I remember John Michael Montgomery was huge too because of that song. He was huge first on country, and then they came and became huge on pop and R&B. And then it was like they became friends, kind of. It was this whole crazy mixture of the world.
I was thinking it would have been fun if they did the song together, but I don't think it would have worked quite like Run DMC and Aerosmith in that case. It wouldn't have melded that well. I think it would have been a little awkward.
I don't know, Jack. I wonder. I mean, now you got me intrigued. I wonder if they did it right, if they did it a certain way, maybe it would work. I don't know.
Yeah, as we talk about pop, though, you'd mentioned Johnny Cash. I mean, he's another guy that when that movie came out was just reborn for a lot of people. And he has a lot of great songs like Hurt obviously is great. Walk the Line is probably one of the most iconic country songs, at least now after that movie came out, which is one that I love. I'm a big Ring of Fire guy myself, but he has my favorite of his though is I think When the Man Comes Around is a fun one. That's a good that's like a good pump up song. If you ever need a good like feel like you're like pump yourself up, When the Man Comes Around is a good song to listen to.
Flobo is jumping in. He's actually, if you watch the Let's Produce Our Show, you'll get to this person. He's like, what about Elvis? And I'm like, okay, he's mentioning Johnny Cash. I was about to lead into Elvis next, actually.
Flobo.
Yeah, Flo, let's produce our own show. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But Johnny Cash. Maybe we're saving for last. I don't know. But anyway, I was going to lead into it next because that's you said Johnny Cash. I was going to mention
Sorry, I didn't mean to step all over the show.
I love that. So don't say that. I'm glad you went that direction. We're going that direction. But I was going to say, because of Johnny Cash, some of his counterparts of the early 60s or late 50s, there's a lot of blending of rockabilly, because that's part kind of country, kind of pop. Then there's just straight up pop that came out, the Beatles, all that came out. Then there was rock and blues, and blues has country in it too. There's a lot going on, but Elvis walked the line of pop, country, gospel. Gospel hits too. But then again, he's like a Taylor Swift. He
Hawaiian.
Transcended. Yes, he was Hawaiian. He said it for me. Yeah. But that's so funny, Jack. But I was saying that he transcended the. I understand after that.
Yeah.
Jack wins. He wins the next one. I would say. But he transcended the crowd because he was so big for his antics and for other things. That when you think of Elvis, do you think genre? I almost think I don't at this point.
I mean, I always think rock just because he's the king of rock, and he had that. I'll be honest, the thing I think most about with Elvis, just to take it to a personal level, is my grandpa and I will chat about music, and he loved Elvis, and so he's one of the artists. He likes other like Perry Como and stuff like that, but Elvis is the one that I really can like kind of go, that's kind of our bridging artist, if that makes sense. Where I'm like, I totally I like a lot of Elvis's music. He likes a lot of Elvis's music, and we can really bond on that. We like to bond about his comeback special, where he's still like that outfit still looks cool. Like I'd rock that. Well, I mean, I couldn't pull it off, but you know what I mean. Like that outfit still looks cool. If I was like walking to the grocery store on that, I'd probably get some looks.
I now need you to recreate that album cover. So come on, Jack, get the outfit, get the album cover, big Jack in the background, and then just like, yes, I need you to do that. Yes.
But he is definitely one of those guys that, I think you're right, because he did become so big. He may have been one of those, like I guess he was the first a lot of things when it comes to music, but just him being so big, he could say, I'm just going to take a stab at this. Why keep doing what I'm doing? I'm just going to do this thing now. Because he does have so many different genres.
He did movies. So do you think of him as an actor?
No,
I don't know if you do. You just think
no.
it's Elvis. He's just Elvis.
He's Elvis. He's just Elvis. He's everything. He's whatever he wants to be. Yeah, I think I see him more as rock than country. But I mean, obviously, he has a ton of country music. That's kind of where he got his start. Really, is the
Sun
country and
Records,
blues stuff.
all that,
Yeah,
Sun Records and all that. But it's funny. I feel like he's or as well. But y'all, Flo was talking in ghetto English. I don't understand what he's saying. Sorry, Flo. I can't understand what you're saying. I don't read that. I don't understand.
next time Flobo says anything I disagree with, I'm just gonna say I don't understand you, Flobo. He's saying OP. Oh, he's saying OP. He's saying comeback Elvis was overpowered. He was too much. He had too much going for him.
I sounded. I'm like, he did. You think he did? He retracted his other message. I couldn't read it. I don't understand what it said. But no, I feel like people like Elvis, Michael Jackson. There's some folks I don't think of them as a genre because they're so. They say king of pop, but he did R&B, he did disco, he did rock. I mean, it's like Michael Jackson's Michael Jackson. I mean, I don't even know if there's
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're right. I think Elvis is sort of a genre unto himself. I think he is, because he does do so much. I guess I've not really thought about it, but yeah, he's his own thing. He's a genre unto himself. He can do anything. He's done everything. So yeah, I agree with you. I guess I'm taking the long road and saying I agree with you, James.
It's just interesting. I just wonder but he is important to me because he was part of Sun Records. There's a whole history of that. Like Stax Records was big for certain things, and there's stuff like it. But for me, it's like he transcends all of it because he did all of it. And some say he stole, of course, some stuff. They say that also back then. Him and Pat Boone, they all stealing stuff from Black folks. But because you go back to Chuck Berry and Little Richard and all them, and their stuff was tinged with country and blues and rock, and lots of piano. Jerry Lee Lewis, they all did a lot of that stuff. So it's kind of like, like I say, it goes back when I think about rockabilly and stuff. I think about the Beach Boys, where it's the kind of that California surfer rock. It's like, well, there's some country element in there, some of the songs, and there's pop elements in some of the songs. And I guess the Eagles, of course, especially, they toed that line all the time. So I don't know. It's just interesting how some of these genres just when you say country pop or country rock, it does kind of, they meld together. I mean, I like these artists, like the songs were popular, so that defines the pop part. But some of them had country elements, which defines the country part. Yes.
So what about the country pop do you think makes it pop as opposed to country? Is it just because it's catchy?
No, I think it's literally what you said earlier. It's like it's the instrumentation. I mean, for me, I think it's literally. I've never done a country song personally myself. I would love to do one. I think it'd be kind of fun. But when I think that, I go, I need some twin guitars.
Yeah.
I need some kind of. I need a certain tempo. I think a little bit. But then I'm looking at going as we're talking now, but then I can make anything country, right? It could be any tempo, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's like now I'm like confused. I don't know what that means for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess. What about the content of what the song is about? Could a country song be about anything? Do you think, or does it have to have? Or are there certain elements that could a country song be about pop and bottles?
Well, there is. Well, there's been songs about beer and whiskey.
Could you make a country song about Hennessy?
I would say yes.
Interesting. I mean,
I think you could. Now I'm gonna do it. Drink Hennessy. I know I'm not black enough.
Hennessy and Honky Tonk. That's
a great name right there. That's a great album title. Hennessy and Honky Tonk by James Lott Jr. I like that. I don't. That's a very good question, Jack Farmer. I'm confused. I'm thinking like Carrie Underwood is country, but her songs are popular in pop. Casey Musgraves is country, where her songs are popular in pop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I like those. I like those two.
Yeah, Casey Musgraves has been big. She's been great recently. She's got a good crossover appeal as well. Her songs get stuck in my head though, and I'm not sure I appreciate that.
Earworm.
They get stuck in there really bad. Her and Sam Hunt over the past few years has been really good. He's had some good. It's a few years old now, but I love Body Like a Back Road and I like House Party. They're like 2 or 3 years old now. Man, the quarantine threw everything off. I don't know how many years it's been. It may have been like 7 years.
Last year was 10 years alone by itself.
Yeah.
I think I'm now 60 years old, I think.
But Casey Musgraves,
like Dolly Parton.
Oh, she's great. 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. That song
is which but think about it, Jack, that song is so universal. Everybody works.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone works. So that song is so universal. It's the theme by itself. But it's a country, I guess it was a hit everywhere because of the movie.
Right. Yeah, that one definitely feels poppy though, too. It doesn't feel like it's wholly a country song. That's definitely poppy. Jolene, I can't hear the name Jolene without thinking Jolene.
Yes, exactly. Yes. No, I mean, or Islands in the Stream. Islands in the stream. That is what we are. That was written by the Bee Gees.
Right. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, it was written by Bee Gees. That's a really good question because, I mean, I'm going back to your question about Canadian song being a country song, and Dolly Parton just really literally, I Will Always Love You. That was a country song.
Oh, yeah.
Then Homegirl did it.
Do you think, now let me ask you this, because we said Hurt is now Johnny Cash's song. Is I Will Always Love You now Whitney Houston's song?
Oh, Dolly Parton said it was. So Dolly Parton's she made lots of money off of it. She goes, that's Homegirl song. And she happily said, she's ready. I mean, Dolly Parton is richer than God because of that song. I mean, other stuff too. But that song was, you know how that song was huge. I mean, that song, Whitney Houston, that song was pitch perfect. There's not a bad note in the whole song. When she shows that note at the end, it's one of those, to me, it's one of those perfect songs.
Yeah, that's a masterclass song.
It's exactly. I totally agree with that. But that was a country song at first. I just thought that just now. Like, that's right. That was a country song.
That is a song you should not do for karaoke because you will not live up to it. You will just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I wouldn't do it. And see, when I was growing up, when I was in junior high school, Urban Cowboy came out.
Okay.
And so that was huge. That soundtrack was huge. It's all, that whole look of being a cowboy in the city became big in LA. And I was like, everybody's wearing cowboy boots. And I remember Madonna, when she came out with Don't Tell Me from her music album in 2001, she was wearing cowboy hats. And all the chicks in the club suddenly had little cowboy hats and cute little boots on. So it's funny how that will permeate sometimes too into the culture.
All the woo girls with their cowboy hats.
There you go, exactly. Exactly. It's so weird. It's like, okay, that kind of permeated through somehow. But no, I don't know. Country gets such a bad rap, and rock and pop gets such a bad rap. So it's like, I don't know. It's just weird.
I think people who give it a bad rap are just stuffy. Can't have any fun. They're all fun. Fun little fact, by the way. I was reading about belts. I was reading this thing about why aren't suspenders? Why do we use belts and not suspenders? And it was talking about how everything basically says that we should be using suspenders. Like belts are uncomfortable. Right. They actually aren't the best way to hold up your pants because you've got to, like it's bad for circulation stuff. But it actually is because of things like rodeos would give belt buckles as the prize, and belt buckles became a kind of a symbolic thing. And so that became a fashion that then you don't need both the belt and suspenders. So suspenders kind of got cast to the wayside because people wear the belt to show off the belt buckle, which is still popular among, in the country world. So basically we're all trying to pretend that we're rodeo stars when we wear belts. That's what I'm saying, James. It's all this fashion has changed because some guy won a belt buckle at a contest. That's what I'm saying.
That was it. I never knew that. That's very interesting. I never knew that. I know belt buckles are important in country music, but I never knew why we wear belts. I never knew that.
Yeah, because basically it just became a thing. It became a style, and the style just got kind of fixed and stuck, even though that's why we don't wear. Yeah. Anyways,
I like suspenders. I like suspenders. I wear suspenders sometimes when I dress up. I have bow tie suspenders.
I like doing the thing where you pull them out with your thumbs and you kind of go up and down and then snap them back.
Oh my God. Okay. Sure.
That's it.
Yeah, sure. Yes. So I guess the long and short of it is country pop, nothing wrong with it. We think we deem nothing wrong with it. Some great artists have come through doing that. And still some great artists out there now who are doing stuff in that genre. It's just popular music, I guess, is what it is. It just has the country flair to it again. And I don't know. I like it. I mean, there's a lot of great artists over the years. I like it.
Yeah, tons of. I mean, obviously doing research for this and looking back, just a few artists to kind of throw out that I came across was Brooks and Dunn. My Maria was one that felt like it definitely crossed over. Maria.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Also liked Devil Went Down to Georgia, which was one that has become very popular, but about as country sounding as you can get with the fiddles and things like that.
Yes.
But that's a fun one that
Charlie Daniels. Yes.
Comes back every Halloween. It's a good Halloween song for me. But Hunter Hayes' Wanted was another one that crossed over big time.
Huge.
Anyways, I don't know. Those were a few that I wanted in my notes. I Hope You Dance. Lone Star was also one that had.
Oh, yeah, Lone Star. Oh, I remember that song was huge. That song was huge. Oh my goodness. Also, I could say if we're gonna do that, I'll mention Mary Chapin. I think it was Mary Chapin Carpenter. Shut Up and Kiss Me. Was that her? That song? I remember that was her.
Oh yeah. I know the song. I'm trying to double check the name.
What was the name? Because I thought it was Shut Up and Kiss Me was a huge crossover.
Mary Chapin Carpenter. Yeah.
I did say it right. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I know her, Lee, Womack, both of them. They both became these huge crossover. That one song, huge crossover. Rascal Flatts.
Oh, I was just life is a highway.
Yeah, exactly. It was very big. They were very big. I mean, they were very big for a while.
At weddings, God bless the broken road. It gets played all the time.
Yes.
Or is there anything I Loved Her First? Both of those get played all the time. But which one was Rascal Flatts? No, Heartland is I Loved Her First, and yeah, Rascal Flatts is Bless the Broken Road. I know one of them.
Yeah. I'm gonna mention Eddie Rabbit. I Love Rainy Night. Pointer Sisters had country hits. Lionel Richie, of course, had tons of country stuff. He wrote things for Lionel Richie, of course. I think that was the ones that I wanted to make sure I mentioned on here that I didn't mention earlier. I mean, there's more. There's obviously way more. I mean, there's tons.
Yeah, country again. It's one of those genres I think a lot of people turn off right away just because it's different than a lot of other ones. But if you let yourself go down the rabbit hole, there's actually a lot of really fun songs and a lot of good music in there. That one is just it's different than what you're hearing because it's a different genre. But also you realize there's a lot of it that just wasn't really appreciated. I don't think, or it was appreciated, but maybe a lot of people aren't appreciating it because they haven't come across it yet. Like Alan Jackson, man, like it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and Don't Rock the Jukebox and Chattahoochee is a fun song.
Yes.
But it's 5 o'clock somewhere is one that I think everyone knows that is like it's a cool have a beer after work kind of song. And it's basically what it is. It's about having a beer after. Actually, it's about having a beer before the end of work because they're saying it's 5 o'clock somewhere else.
Exactly. And if we're going to end it, we're going to end it on Margaritaville, of course.
Oh, I love that song.
Not even do this without you mentioning that song.
Yeah.
And how it's a whole way of life.
Yes.
A whole way of life. I've been to many Margaritaville restaurants in Florida and the South and the Keys, and it's like, yeah, it's a whole. He's just. I think he transcends too.
Yeah.
Pop culture. He's a cultural icon, right?
Yeah, because you're right. It's like you said, it's a way of life. Like there are people who like live their life that way. I think especially in like retirement communities and things where it's like, yeah, you have a margarita all day, you're by the beach all day, or you're just on vacation. Like when I look, when I'm on vacation, I'm in Margaritaville, baby. I am just like that's
so what would Jimmy Buffett do? I know he would drink.
Yeah,
he would have margaritas. I love margaritas. I'll drink a margarita. I mean, when I'm on vacation, I morning drink, day drink, and night drink. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I do. I let loose and take naps in between, drink again later. I also eat. I eat too. I make sure I eat.
Yeah.
I do eat. But I love me some day drinking and stuff. Especially in a nice location.
It's got anything with an umbrella in it works for me.
I'm there, Jack Farmer. I am there. I am still there. I could use vacation so bad right now with this whole pandemic.
Yeah.
I normally this time of year I'm in the Caribbean because it's warm down there and it's not hurricane season. So I usually go in January, February. I go to the Caribbean and I hang out there for a few weeks and then I come back refreshed.
Yeah, January is usually when I take my vacation, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I don't know about you, but after a year of not working, I could use a vacation.
And that's where we're ending right now. This is James Lott Jr. as the farmer and Jack Farmer as the DJ. Jack Farmer, tell me they can find you in all your goodness.
The best place to keep up with everything I'm doing is at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. You can also check me out at jackcfarmer.com for all my DJ stuff.
Yes, it's stuff. DJ stuff. Check him out for all his DJ stuff. I like that. Yeah.
That's marketing, folks.
I have a friend who hates the word stuff. That's the whole story. And I'm James Lott Jr. Of course, you can follow me. We're all James Lott Jr. is sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms and my online network. You're watching us right now. Thank everybody who's in the chat room watching us. This is JLJ Media. So subscribe, bitches. Subscribe. Don't just watch my video. Subscribe to my channel because something happens when you subscribe to my channel. What happens, you ask? More things are opened up to me as a channel. Things become available when you have more subscribers. I become a unicorn. I don't know. It's just stuff happens when you subscribe to my channel.
And even more stuff happens when you like the video, comment, and share it. I like it when people share it, James. That's always a really cool thing. When people find a video and they share it with all their friends.
Yes. Anybody who likes music and country pop, share it with them. Let's get drinks. I'm gonna get some drinks. Just please share this video, share all my videos, share his stuff, share everything, share the love. And everyone, please wash your hands, wear a mask. Listen to some country pop music that we just talked about. Find some of those artists and go on Spotify and listen to them. And we will see you next week when we talk about love songs because it's the week before Valentine's Day. And we're talking love songs. We are talking love songs. I can't even do a heart. I'm not heart. There we go. We're going to talk love songs. That's next week at 3 p.m. again.